Hello, and welcome to my garden and the dinosaurs who live there. When I'm out in the garden, I let the chickens out to free range so that they can have a chance to stretch their legs, stretch their wings, and generally have a good forage around. That does come with challenges though, particularly when you're wanting to protect your plants from them, because if they get the opportunity and there's a nice bit of dirt around some plants, there's nothing they like better than having a scratch and seeing what insects they can find, and that can be very detrimental to the plants that they're scratching around. So what I thought I'd do today is show you my defences and how I protect my precious plants from the chickens. So here's an example of what I do to protect individual plants, and what I've done is used this plastic coated wire to make cylinders and just put the cylinders around the plants. Now the plants have died away. I think we've got sedum and not quite sure what the others are actually, it'll come to me, but I've just left the supports in place, but I'll probably move them on as I get the bed ready for the spring. So yeah, all you do is just make a cylinder, and I mean you can tie it like I've done here, if you can see, but actually you're just as well, or you can be just as well, just using the bamboo canes as I've done without tying it, because you just sort of thread the bamboo cane through the meeting edges and you get a nice solid cylindrical protection for individual plants. And you can see, obviously you have the flexibility to make them whatever size you want. It's really cheap. The actual rolls of this plastic coated wire aren't very expensive. You can get them in all sorts of outlets, whether it's online or in places like B&Q or Homebase or whatever. Oh, am I in your way, Matilda? And yeah, so that's perfect for protecting plants, individual plants. What else have I got? If I go over here for beds, and this is has survived the winter thus far. For beds, just use a longer strip off the wire and just use bamboo canes to secure it in place. And I've done the same over here with the strawberry bed. Now these aren't very high, and if the chickens really put their mind to it, they could get over and into the beds, but the point is it's just a deterrent, because there's so much else going on in the garden that they're really not bothered about jumping into those beds. The only time they'd probably want to jump in is if I was digging it, or if I was planting things or removing things and they thought there was an opportunity for some worms to be uncovered, then they might be a bit more likely to try and jump in. But really, to be honest, generally just a small, I don't know how tall that is, don't know, maybe not quite a foot, less than a foot, half a foot tall. I'm not very good at spatial awareness, as you can tell, so yeah, something about that height should deter them, which is great. So I've just put fresh barriers up on 3 raised beds, and the thing to note is that I use green coated wire, which actually, when there's a lot of foliage, etc., it almost masks it. And the other thing is that many circumstances, in the circumstances here for example, where I'm growing, you can just see there's some tulips coming up. So I'm growing tulips in these beds, so once the tulip leaves are up and quite mature, I can take the barricades down, because one, the chickens aren't very likely to go into the bed because it's going to be pretty much full, and two, even if they did, they wouldn't make too much mark on the tulips, because they'll be quite established, and they should be pretty okay. So I also have another type of little barrier I use, and it's quite simply chicken wire. So I've got a load of tubs here, and all over actually. I'm growing a lot of tulips for cutting this year. So what I've done is I've just put chicken wire over the top of the tubs, and it's actually, as well as to stop the girls going in, because they love hopping up on a tub to have a good scratch around, it's also to try and deter the squirrels. We have lots of squirrels around, and they're forever trying to bury their nuts or dig up nuts. And in fact, where is it? There you go, you can see a little shell of a monkey nut there. So they've already been in here, even although I've got the barrier on, they can sort of reach through, but it helps prevent them digging big holes and things. So as a matter of interest, this is a tulip blue heron. It's a bluey coloured tulip, as the name might suggest. I grew this last year and it was lovely. It's the same bulbs though, so I don't know if I'll get as good a show this year, and I've literally just left them in the tub. I planted over the top with some bedding, I think, towards the summer and autumn last year, so there was interest in the tub. But we'll see what blue heron looks like this year. There's Matilda having a bit of a preen. They quite like coming back onto the deck and just chilling out after having a rummage around the garden. Okay, well, I think that's me for this particular video. I hope it's been useful to you, and if anyone has got any other tips for protecting plants from little marauding dinosaurs, please let me know. Bye bye for now.